TENSURAX Villainess by Rimuru_high 4 little sparring match. Yumila's POV after that disastrous, no, humiliating, swordsmanship class. Rimuru-san invited me to grab something to eat. Naturally, I couldn't refuse. And now, here I am, walking beside him down the academy hallway, trying to keep up with his relaxed strides while my mind refuses to stop replaying what happened earlier. The way Rimuru fought against William and his group, it wasn't even a fight, it was more like a performance. He humiliated them so thoroughly that even I, who don't particularly like William, felt a tinge of pity. But truthfully, they got what they deserved. What amazes me more, though, is Rimuru himself. I've always known he was powerful, but what I saw today was beyond belief. He caught those swords, sharp steel, with his bare hand. Not one sword, but 7. I've trained for years and know the pain of even a glancing blow from a blade. But Rimuru didn't flinch, he was completely unfazed. Rimuru-san? I finally spoke, my voice breaking the quiet. Yaa, Yumi-chan? Is there something on your mind? He replied cheerfully, his usual grin plastered across his face. I looked at him, my thoughts swirling. How is it that someone like him exists? He's so powerful, so composed, and yet. Why do you enjoy teasing people so much? I asked, narrowing my eyes slightly. It feels to me like you were stuck somewhere for a long time. And now that you're free, you're making up for lost time. I didn't know where those words came from, but they felt right. Rimuru froze mid-step, his expression briefly stunned. Shocked, even. For someone as hard to rattle as him, seeing that look made my heart skip. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the shock melted away, replaced by a deep, hearty laugh. Rimuru threw his head back, chuckling as if I'd said the most amusing thing in the world. Wow, Yumi-chan, he said after calming down, a strange glint in his eyes. You have a sharp intuition. To say something like that so casually, I'm impressed. I blinked, confused. What exactly did I say that was so impressive? Rimuru reached out and placed a hand on my head, ruffling my hair lightly. Don't overthink it, he said with that same mischievous smile. I just enjoy people's reactions, that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. I see, I murmured, though his words didn't satisfy me. Even so, something about him feels off. He's too calm, too prepared, as if nothing in this world could possibly surprise him. Rimuru tilted his head slightly, his smile softening. You can say a lot about me, Yumi-chan. I'm extremely impressed about you as a person in this world. I froze, my heart skipping a beat. This world? What did he mean by that? Did he just say what I think he said? My thoughts raced, panic bubbling up in my chest. Could he know? Could he somehow know that I? What do you mean by that, Rimuru-san? I asked quickly, trying to keep my voice steady. Rimuru didn't answer immediately. Instead, he took a step closer. Too close. Far too close. My breath hitched as his face leaned in, mere inches from mine. Rimuru-san, I stammered, my voice rising. His smile didn't waver. His golden eyes stared into mine, calm and unreadable, but something about his gaze sent shivers down my spine. I could feel his breath, against my skin. Too close. Too close. Too close. Why was he so close? My face burned, and I instinctively leaned back, only to hit the wall behind me. I was trapped. Yumi-chan, Rimuru said softly, his voice low and serious. There are many things in this world that you don't know. Some things exist that you can't even begin to imagine. I opened my mouth to reply, but before I could utter a word, he leaned in closer, so close his lips brushed against my ear. My entire body stiffened. Like me, he murmured, and then, before I could even process what was happening, I felt it, a light, teasing nip on my ear. My brain practically short-circuited. Ah! I gasped, my face exploding with heat. My hands flew up to push him away, but they were trembling too much to actually do anything. Rimuru-san. He chuckled softly, pulling back just enough to look at my flustered expression. His eyes gleamed with amusement. You're so fun to tease, Yumi-chan, he said, his voice dripping with mischief. You can't just, my words came out jumbled, my thoughts an incoherent mess. I clutched my ear, still feeling the ghost of his bite. But before I could properly scold him, or die of embarrassment, A series of high-pitched screams echoed through the hall. Ah! Kaya! Eeeeeeeee! Startled, both Rimuru and I turned toward the sound. Standing a few meters away were 3 girls, all blushing furiously as they stared at us. Rimuru-sama and Yumilia-san are, one of the girls stammered, covering her mouth with her hands. There, another girl tried to say, her face redder than a tomato. I realized the scene they'd just witnessed. Me cornered against the wall by Rimuru, his face mere inches from mine, while I clutched my ear like a love-struck fool. To anyone else, it must have looked. My face erupted in flames. It's not what you think, I blurted out, waving my hands frantically. Rimuru, completely unfazed, raised a hand and gave the girls an awkward smile. Hi. That single word was enough to send the trio over the edge. Kya. He spoke to us, too much, too much. The girls screamed again, blushing even harder before turning on their heels and fleeing down the hallway. One of them tripped, falling flat on her face before scrambling to her feet and running after her friends. The hall fell silent. I turned back to Rimuru, my face still burning. Why did you do that? I demanded, glaring at him. What? I was just being polite, he said with a shrug, though his grin betrayed his amusement. You knew what they were thinking, I accused, pointing a finger at him. And you enjoyed it, didn't you? He held up his hands defensively. Hey, I can't control what other people think. That's on them, not me. I stopped myself before I said something I'd regret. Taking a deep breath, I pinched the bridge of my nose and tried to calm down. Rimuru chuckled softly beside me. You're really fun to tease, Yumi-chan. I shot him a glare. You're insufferable, and you wouldn't have me any other way, he replied smoothly. I opened my mouth to retort but realized I didn't actually have an argument for that. He was right, annoyingly enough. Still, as we resumed walking, I couldn't help but glance at him from the corner of my eye. What he said earlier, about things I couldn't imagine, still lingered in my mind. What exactly are you hiding, Rimuru-san? He seemed so carefree and playful, yet there was something about him, something that went beyond strength or confidence. It was as if he carried knowledge of the world that no one else possessed. I frowned, looking ahead as we walked through the now empty hallway. One day, Rimuru-san, I'll figure out your secrets. For now, though, I had to survive the embarrassment of being labeled the romantic interest of the Academy's most untouchable man. Great. Just grattt, Rimuru's pav. That was close. Far too close. Yumi-chan almost figured out the truth about me being stuck in the office doing paperwork for 100 years. Master, I must admit, I'm impressed by her perceptiveness. Yeah, no kidding, I muttered to myself. From now on, I'll need to be extra cautious around her. She's sharper than she lets on. But, Master, your teasing tactics saved you. Truly an impressive display. Don't even try, Seal. You and I both know that you told me to do that. But it worked, didn't it? Yeah, it worked, I admitted reluctantly. But what about those girls who saw us earlier? What girls? I narrowed my eyes. Seal, don't play dumb. Did you bring them here? I have no idea what you mean, Master. You totally did, didn't you? Master, you're imagining things. I sighed heavily, shaking my head. Fine. I'll let it slide for now. Hey. Smug face. I glared internally. Seal, I swear. As Yumi-chan and I walked back to the training grounds, the instructor immediately turned to us with a stern expression. What took you both so long? He asked, his tone sharp. We ran into an unexpected situation, I said smoothly, giving him my best apologetic smile. Sorry about that. Yumi-chan tugged lightly on my sleeve, breaking my focus. I glanced at her. What is it, Yumi-chan? She nodded toward the edge of the field. Look over there. Those 3 girls, they're the ones who saw us, right? I followed her gaze and immediately spotted the trio. They were huddled together, whispering and casting not so subtle glances in our direction. Yeah, I said casually. That's them. Yumi-chan sighed, crossing her arms. You don't even care what they're saying about us, do you? I shrugged, smiling. Not at all. After all, that was. My words caught in my throat as I realized what I was about to say. She tilted her head, her eyes narrowing. What was that? Nothing, I said quickly, waving her off. Nothing at all. The instructor cleared his throat loudly, regaining everyone's attention. All right, everyone. Pair up. We'll be doing some light sparring today. The students nodded, most of them glancing nervously at me and Yumi-chan. I turned to her, holding out a wooden sword. Shall we? She accepted it with a small nod. You're the only one I can spar with, anyway. I grinned, giving my own sword a little spin. Then let's make it a good one. We stood in the center of the field, wooden swords in hand, ready for the instructor's signal. Around us, the other students formed pairs, but their focus wasn't on their own matches. All eyes were on us. Master, they're clearly nervous. Yeah, I can see that, I replied internally, smirking. The instructor raised his hand. Begin. Yumi-chan moved first, her strike aimed directly at me. I parried with ease, but in her haste, her foot slipped on the uneven ground. Time seemed to slow as she stumbled forward, her sword flying from her hand and clattering to the ground. Her momentum carried her straight into me, and before either of us could react, she tripped, pulling us both down. With a thud, I landed flat on my back. Yumi-chan sprawled on top of me. The entire training ground went silent. For a moment, neither of us moved. Her face was just inches from mine, her eyes wide with shock. Then, as realization set in, her cheeks flushed a deep red. Our Rimuru-san, she stammered, scrambling to get off me. I sat up, brushing the dirt off my clothes. You okay, Yumi-chan? I'm fine, she squeaked, her face still burning. She looked like she wanted the earth to swallow her whole. The whispers started immediately. Did you see that? She fell on him. Are they clothes or something? Master, this is priceless. Her embarrassment levels are off the charts. Not helping, Seal. The instructor cleared his throat loudly, his expression caught somewhere between disapproval and amusement. Yumilia, focus. This is a sparring match, not whatever that was. Sorry. Yumi-chan bowed quickly, avoiding everyone's gaze. I smiled gently, picking up her wooden sword and handing it to her. Don't worry about it. Let's try again. She hesitated, her hands trembling slightly as she took the sword. Oh, okay. Master, I must say, you handled that surprisingly well. Of course I did, I replied internally. But now I have to make sure she doesn't trip again. As we resumed our positions, I caught her muttering under her breath. So embarrassing. Why does this stuff always happen to me? I chuckled softly. Don't worry, Yumi-chan. Just focus. You'll be fine. Her eyes flickered to mine, and she gave a small nod. Right. Let's go again. The training grounds were lively, with students pairing off to spar. As I walked with Yumilia to an open area, the energy around us felt charged. The instructor had tasked everyone with sparring to test their abilities, and while the others seemed focused on their own matches, I could sense the occasional curious glances being thrown our way. Yumilia's grip tightened around her wooden sword, her knuckles slightly pale. She glanced at me with her usual determined expression, but I noticed the faintest flicker of nerves in her eyes. You all right, Yumi-chan? I asked, twirling my wooden sword lazily. She nodded quickly. I'm fine, Rimuru-san. Just trying to focus. You'll do great, I said with an encouraging grin. Let's just have fun with this, all right? She nodded again, but her focus sharpened. She adjusted her stance, planting her feet firmly on the ground. Her resolve was clear. Master, are you planning to hold back completely, or will you give her a little challenge? I'll hold back enough to keep it fair, but I'll give her a taste of what a real sparring match feels like. She'll learn more that way. Just don't make her cry, she's tougher than that. The instructor raised his voice to signal the start of the spar. Begin. Yumilia didn't hesitate. The moment the signal came, she lunged forward, her wooden sword swinging in a powerful arc toward my shoulder. The force of her strike was immense. The moment her sword cut through the air, a shockwave exploded outward, kicking up dirt and rippling through the training grounds like a gust of wind. The students nearby froze mid-spar, their matches forgotten as they turned to watch. A few of them stumbled backward, shielding their faces from the impact. What was that? Was that Yumilia? She almost knocked me over with that swing. I raised my own sword with ease, catching her attack just before it landed. The impact sent a vibration up my arm,
but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle.
Wow, Yumi-chan, I said, smirking. That was a lot stronger than I expected. Her eyes widened slightly, surprised by the shockwave herself. I didn't mean to do that. Master, that shockwave startled even you, didn't it? A little, I admitted. But it's nothing I can't handle. She's got raw strength for sure, but she still needs control. Don't worry about it, I said to Yumilia, pushing her sword back lightly. It's good to have power like that, but you need to learn how to control it. Otherwise, you might accidentally hurt someone. She nodded, her expression tightening in determination. I'll be more careful, Rimuru-san. Let's continue. The other students had stopped sparring altogether, gathering around to watch our match. Look at her strength. She's holding her own against Rimuru-sama? No way. He's just letting her think she has a chance. Among the crowd, a group of female students was whispering and giggling.
Rimuru-sama is so amazing. He's barely trying, and he's still winning.
That Yumilia girl, she doesn't deserve to spar with him. I caught their voices but chose to ignore them. Yumilia didn't seem to notice, her focus entirely on me. You ready for round 2, Yumi-chan? I asked, stepping back and raising my sword. She adjusted her stance again, nodding firmly. I'm ready. Her next attack was more calculated. She came at me with a horizontal swing, aiming for my ribs. I blocked it effortlessly, twisting my wrist to redirect her blade and stepping to the side. You're improving already, I said, grinning. That was a good angle, but you telegraphed it a bit too much. Try to keep your movements tighter. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and she nodded, quickly adjusting her grip. She came at me again, this time feinting a high strike before shifting her weight to aim for my legs. I jumped lightly, avoiding her strike entirely, and tapped her shoulder with my sword as I landed.
Close, but not close enough, I teased. Her cheeks flushed with frustration. Stop toying with me, Rimuru-san. Master, she's getting frustrated. Maybe ease up a little. Not a chance, I replied internally. This is how she'll learn.
Yumilia's determination only grew. Her attacks came faster and harder, each swing carrying that same raw power that sent ripples through the air. The ground beneath us seemed to tremble slightly with each strike, and the students watching were completely entranced. She's amazing. Yumilia's got insane strength. But Rimuru-sama is still untouchable. Come on, Yumi-chan, I said, sidestepping another swing. Is that all you've got? You're going to have to do better than that to land a hit on me. Her eyes narrowed, and she lunged forward, aiming for my side. I parried her sword easily, spinning around to tap the back of her wrist with mine. Again, I said, stepping back and giving her space. She exhaled sharply, resetting her stance. I'll get you this time, Rimuru-san. You can try, I replied with a grin. As the spar continued, her strikes became more precise. She was learning quickly, adjusting her movements based on my corrections. Despite her strength, I could see that she was treating this spar as a light match, not going all out. That's better, I said, blocking her latest attack. Your form is improving. Keep it up. Thanks, Rimuru-san, she said, a small smile breaking through her focus. From the sidelines, the 3 girls who had seen us earlier in the hallway were whispering loudly. Do you think they're close? They were walking together earlier. She's probably trying to get close to him. It's disgusting. Master, they're being unnecessarily rude. Should I silence them? No, let them talk, I replied. Yumi-chan doesn't seem to notice. Still, their negativity is unwarranted. It's fine. Yumi-chan's too focused to care. By the time the instructor called an end to the match, Yumilia was breathing heavily, her face flushed from exertion. I, of course, was perfectly fine, barely even sweating. That's enough, the instructor said, stepping forward. Well done, both of you. Yumilia lowered her sword, looking at me with a mix of exhaustion and pride. Thank you for the match, Rimuru-san, she said, bowing slightly.
You did great, Yumi-chan, I said, giving her a thumbs up. You've got a lot of potential. Keep working on your control, and you'll be unstoppable. Her cheeks pink turned at the compliment, but she smiled. I will. Thank you.
The students clapped hesitantly, though some of the female students looked less than thrilled. The 3 girls were still whispering among themselves, but I didn't care. Yumilia had done an amazing job, and that was all that mattered. Master, she's progressing quickly. She'll be a formidable fighter soon. Yeah, I agreed, smiling as I watched her. She's got what it takes. The instructor clapped his hands loudly, calling everyone's attention. That was an impressive match. Rimuru, as always, you've shown incredible skill. And Yumilia, he paused, his sharp eyes focusing on her. Your strength is outstanding, but you need to focus on control and precision. Keep training, and you'll become a force to be reckoned with. Yumilia blushed slightly at the praise, bowing her head. Thank you, sir. I'll work harder. The other students began murmuring among themselves. Wow, she's strong, yeah, but Rimuru-sama barely even tried. She's lucky to have sparred with him. I chuckled softly, patting Yumilia's shoulder. See? Told you you'd do great. She gave me a small smile, looking both proud and embarrassed. It's only because you went easy on me, Rimuru-san. Nah, I said, grinning. You earned that praise. Keep it up. Master, you're enjoying this praise as well, aren't you? Who wouldn't? Besides, Yumi-chan deserves it more than me this time. The instructor cleared his throat, snapping us out of our conversation. All right, everyone, good work. That concludes this sparring session. Now, head to your next class. As we walked away from the sparring grounds, I touched at Yumilia. Next class is magic training, right? She nodded. Yeah, it is. I laughed lightly. Are you nervous? Don't worry. You'll have me to help you out. What could go wrong? Before she could respond, our homeroom teacher appeared ahead of the group, clapping her hands to gather everyone's attention. All right, class. Magic training will be held on the other side of the academy grounds today. Everyone, head there now. The students murmured their understanding and started moving toward the designated area. Yumilia and I fell in step together, heading toward the other training grounds. As we walked, I noticed a small group of girls trailing behind us, 7, maybe 9 of them. They kept a slight distance but were clearly focused on us, whispering among themselves. Master, those girls are curious about your relationship with Yumilia. Is that so? I replied internally, smirking. Let them wonder. It'll make things more entertaining. You do enjoy stirring up misunderstandings, don't you? It's not my fault if they jump to conclusions. Still, their constant murmuring was getting annoying. I decided to pick up the pace. Yumi-chan, I said, grabbing her hand suddenly, let's hurry up. Huh? She blinked, confused, but followed as I quickened my steps. What's going on, Rimuru-san? I leaned in slightly, keeping my voice low. Those girls behind us. They've been following us since we left the sparring grounds. She glanced back subtly, her brows furrowing. Why are they following us? I shrugged. Maybe they're curious about you. Or us. Either way, it's getting annoying, so let's lose them. She nodded, her expression serious. All right, let's go. We quickened our pace, weaving through the crowd of students heading to the training grounds. The girls behind us hesitated for a moment before attempting to catch up. Rimuru-sama is holding her hand. See? I told you they're close. That's not fair. She doesn't deserve to be with him. I heard their voices clearly, but I ignored them, focusing on moving forward. Yumilia, however, glanced at me, her cheeks slightly pink. Rimuru-san, she began hesitantly, you didn't have to hold my hand. I gave her a teasing smile. What, does it bother you?
She shook her head quickly, her face turning redder. No, it's just unexpected.
Master, you're enjoying this far too much. Maybe a little, I admitted, suppressing a chuckle. When we finally arrived at the magic training grounds, I let go of Yumilia's hand, much to her visible relief. There. We lost them, I said with a grin. She exhaled softly, smoothing her hair. Thank you, Rimuru-san. That was unexpected but effective. Anything for my little Yumi-chan, I replied, winking playfully. Master, you're being reckless. What if she misunderstands your intentions? She's not the type to overthink it. Besides, it's just harmless fun, for now. I brushed off Ciel's remark, turning my attention to the instructor who was already preparing for the next lesson. As we settled into place for magic training, I couldn't help but notice Yumi-chan glancing at me occasionally, her expression a mix of gratitude and lingering embarrassment. Well, I thought to myself, this class is bound to be interesting.